Hi, I'm Wendy from Balanced Health. Welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to be making a quick dish of kale, onions, garlic, and dried tomatoes. This can be used on its own. You can add in potatoes for a more satisfying meal, or you can place protein on top of it. So right now what we have going is we have about a teaspoon of oil. We added the kale stems cut into small pieces so they cook evenly and aren't too fibrous, and the onions. Now we're just going to stir these around and get a nice sizzle going to them. You're going to let it cook for about 2 to 3 minutes. You'll see that the onions will just start to become a little bit translucent. And then we're going to be adding a little bit of water, because we don't want too much oil. We don't want to saturate it and have a big greasy mess. We want it to be very light and refreshing. However, the oil does help to then break down a lot of the minerals that are in the vegetables, so they're more bioavailable to you, which just means that your body absorbs them easier. So I have the tomatoes soaking in water because you don't want chewy tomatoes. So you can see the onions are starting to get a little bit translucent, and if you could smell it, they're oh so fragrant. I love it. So we're just going to take about a tablespoon of water. This will also add flavor from the tomatoes, and it'll help to soften up the kale stems themselves. I don't know if you've been looking, but the kale is on the top 10 superfood list. It is very, very high in nutrients, and it's a wonderful dish. I cook it with eggs in the morning, on its own, like I said, with potatoes, or with protein. I'm sorry, my mouth is salivating. It smells so good in here. So your garlic, you don't want to over toast it. You want it to be a little bit translucent but soft, so it doesn't have that bitterness to it. So I always add my chopped garlic at the end along with my leafy greens, whether it be spinach, kale, or whatever the case may be. Now you could season this with many different spices, but tonight I just want it very simple, so you can really just get the different flavors in here. So once we get all of our vegetables in there, we're going to just stir it around, toss the coat, and you'll see it has that whitish glow to it. Well, it's going to become a more vibrant green, and you'll see some of them try to run away. You'll see that they start to just wilt ever so slightly. You don't want to overcook them. You want them to be nice and crisp. We can always add more water, and the water on the hot pan will cause that steam to go on. So now we're going to add our sun-dried tomatoes. I do this during the summer. I love summer tomatoes. There's nothing better than getting a nice fresh Jersey tomato. And to preserve them, I tend to hydrate them or make salsas or chutneys or something else out of them. We're going to add a little bit more of that water, and you see how it's starting to really get vibrant, and it's wilting ever so slightly. If you wanted to add some salt, and I have some seasoned salt that I add to it. This is from Penzeys. This has a little bit of salt to it, a little sugar, as well as some paprika to it. So it's a nice blend. It doesn't add a lot of sodium, but it adds a lot of flavor. So everything, let's see, that took roughly 3 minutes. It didn't take long to cook at all. So we're just going to toss in a little bit of the seasoning. That was maybe not even a quarter of a teaspoon. You don't need much at all to bring out flavor. We have a problem with high blood pressure in this country, and people oversalt things. So we just want to add a touch of flavor, and that's it. All we're going to do now, make sure that you protect your hands when you're picking up a cast iron pot, and these things are heavy. And we're going to just plate this very nicely. Look at that beautiful color. Oh my God, if you could just smell this, it's just fantastic. Another option you can do with this, especially if you have potatoes, you can dress it up with a little bit of lemon juice on top, Parmesan cheese, anything like that. Now look at that. Isn't that scrumptious? And we are complete. Thank you for joining me in my kitchen. This is Wendy from Balanced Health.